Get ready to get in the game. Stretch, strengthen, live, and thrive. You can be a winning athlete in the game of life. It's the Peel Appeal with author and corrective exercise specialist Matt Peel.
Hey, this is Matt Peel with the Peel Appeal podcast. Welcome to the show. How are you today? If it's your first time listening in, I want to thank you for listening and hope you enjoy the show and come back again for more. If it's not your first time and time 2 through infinity and beyond, then thank you. Welcome back again. I appreciate your support and you subscribing to the show. And without you, I just don't do it, right? This is for you. I appreciate you being here and learning from me and learning the science, because that's what the Peel podcast is about. It's about the science, not just what your friendly social media influencer wants to tell you, right? Whatever he or she is being paid to say or wants to be paid to say. It's about science, so you can make a better decision for you and your health, because ultimately you're responsible for it. Not me, not influencers, only you. So my goal is to help you be the best you can be by giving you what actually happens to your body and your brain when you make choices. So today in this episode, we're going to talk a little bit more about your brain. Yep, that's right. The old noggin. What's that rock between your ears telling you to do or not to do? So the foods you eat also have a lot to do with your brain and not just your waistline. There's been a lot of studies out there about food choices and how they can help preserve cognitive function, because as we age, hey, guess what? We cognitively slow down, not just physically slow down, but there are ways that we can slow this decline and stay at our best and enjoy the things that we like doing even longer with family and friends and in your career. So we're going to talk about what those food choices are to help you with that, obviously in conjunction with exercise. But today is really more about the food choices. So what are the best types of foods and diets for you to use? So when we say diet now, I mean it as a noun, not as in dieting about weight loss. So I'll pause for a second and say this episode has nothing to do with weight loss. This is about fueling your brain to be productive and, again, keep you on that top level for longer. So a lot of this information I'm getting from for you today is from Elizabeth Barron-Cole. She's a registered dietitian, as well as Ryan Glatt. He has a master's in applied neurosciences and is currently a PhD student for health and human performance. He has a BS exercise science. And then Elizabeth Cole is also a certified personal trainer, just like myself. And this comes from a continuing education unit that I completed with them on brain health and fueling your brain with your food. So as we get into this, your lifestyle factors help influence your brain health and cognition. So we're talking, of course, things like exercise and physical activity, sleep, what you eat, how often you eat, how stressed are you taking prescriptions, do you have other risk factors? What are you doing to stimulate your brain right now? And then your social support. Are you just out there alone by yourself? Do you just feel alone? Or do you have some people out there to help you through some tough times and even good times? So all those lifestyle factors, which work for every one of us, including me, influence our brain health and then our cognition beyond that. So according to the Global Council on Brain Health, and again, I'm going to cite this information as much as possible so that this is from research studies. It's not just something I've come up with nowhere. I want to give you the best information possible. So according to the Global Council on Brain Health, long-term healthy habits promote good brain health. What a shock, right? That's not news. I'm telling you. But for a lot of people, maybe it is. Here's another spoiler alert, right? The typical Western diet, high in salt, sugar, calories, saturated fats, is not good for your noggin. Who would have guessed it, right? Yeah, going through the Cane's drive-through not only builds your waistline, but it doesn't help your brain either. So what does help? We're going to talk a little bit about that today, is some of the healthier diets like the Mediterranean and the DASH diet. And again, we're talking diet as a noun, not as in dieting verb. And I think the most important thing here that the Global Council on Brain Health says is that no single food acts as a silver bullet for improving or maintaining brain health, right? It's a combination of foods and nutrients together that help you determine health benefits, right? So it's not just one thing. Now, maybe cutting out one thing like fried foods can help, but no one food is going to say, boom, if you eat kale, hey, your brain is set for life. Thank God, because I don't eat kale, and I'm okay with that. Except if it's in the salad already out there, but I ain't going to buy it from the store. So, that's me. Maybe you love it. No problem. Not so much on my end. So, what are some of the benefits, though? Some of the brain benefits of just healthy eating? And again, part of that study says that good nutrition helps with your blood flow, like having omega-3 fatty acids. It can help with your neuroendocrine functions. So having anti-inflammatories, it helps reduce inflammation, helps give you healthy GI function on top of that. Helps with your nerve tissue hydration. So that means having at least half your body weight in ounces of water every single day, having proper hydration with your electrolytes throughout the day and your food choices. The other benefits for your brain that good nutrition has is with your brain structure, right? It can provide larger brain volume and reduce atrophy in your brain. And that's just all by eating right. That's not even talking about what exercise can do. That's just talking about how we're feeding ourselves can help with your brain health. It's huge, super, super huge out there. So as we talked about, I'm sure you've heard of the Mediterranean diet. We all have, and maybe you follow something like that. Maybe you don't. But let's talk about first what something called the DASH diet is. And that's from the University of Kentucky Healthcare, the Gill Heart and Vascular Institute. So what the DASH diet suggests, and again, this is for your brain, is that you have 6 to 8 servings per day of whole grains, 4 to 5 servings per day of vegetables, same with fruits, right? So you can get that combined in a salad or some type of dish together. It's not saying you have to now eat 6 different times for whole grains, 4 to 5 different times for fruits, 4 to 5 different times for vegetables, right? Think about this combination on your plates throughout the day. How many servings are you getting it in each meal? It says 2 to 3 servings per day of fat-free or low-fat dairy. That means things like a Greek yogurt or a 1% milk or 2%, not a whole milk. 2 to 3 servings per day of fats and oils. So watch that there, right? Those are also things like olive oil. Now you have an avocado. Sure, it's great vegetable in there. There's also a fat serving. So we don't want to just say, oh, and overload like on avocado. It says now one food is a silver bullet. You have less than 5 servings per week of sweets. Are you having cookies at night after you have dinner every night? That's a no-no, not just for your waistline, but for your brain line, right? Got to drop back on those sweets. And talking less than 6 servings per day of lean meat, poultry, and fish. Okay? So Yes, have proteins, have animal proteins. It's fine. You know, plant proteins. It's fine. But we don't just need to only have meat all day long. I love being a Mediterranean, but I can throw some fruits and vegetables onto my plate too. And it also says 4 to 5 servings per week of nuts, seeds, and legumes. Okay. So have some almonds are great. Peanut butter that also kind of goes to your fat. Um, Other things like beans. So mix those in throughout the day. So again, remember it's 4 to 5 servings per week of nuts, seeds, and legumes. Less than 5 servings per week of sweets. Everything else was based on the day. So that's what the DASH diet is. The Mediterranean diet, which I'm sure you're very familiar with for all, because it's discussed quite often on mainstream media, on the news, on social media, by your healthcare provider, etc. But let's kind of break that down a little bit more. So if you imagine a pyramid, right? Say the food pyramid. So a lot of stuff on the bottom layer, and then it narrows to the top as into, how often you should have various foods. So it does not describe in detail like the DASH diet and just gives you more guideline. So on the bottom end of that pyramid, which means you can have most of this on a more daily basis, are things like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, olive oil, beans, nuts, legumes, seeds, and then plenty of herbs and spices. That's kind of the cool thing about it. Herbs and spices is that you can use a lot of them because they don't have any calories. All those dry herbs, all those dried spices, use a ton of them. Even fresh basil, fresh garlic, things like that. Use as much as you want because very low to no calories. So those are the things that you're going to have the most of on a weekly basis. So again, fruits and veggies, whole grains, olive oil, beans, nuts, seeds, legumes, plenty of herbs and spices, not just the 21 that the Colonel says he uses on his fried chicken. Moving up above that, we have your fish and your seafood. So the Mediterranean diet says have more fish. Have more fish and seafood than the next level up, which is your poultry, eggs, and dairy. So more fish and seafood, a little bit less of your poultry, eggs, cheese, yogurts, things like that. Then on the very top of the pyramid, so meaning not number one in your book being the top of the pyramid, but you have less often are meats and sweets. Meats as in red meat and pork type meat. So that would be the least amount of food types you have on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, all your meats and sweets. Drink plenty of water, of course, half your body weight in ounces. And then the Mediterranean diet says you can have some red wine in moderation. So I'll go out there and say in moderation does not mean every single night, because then that's also adds to your waistline, which is not exactly what we're trying to do anyways. So whichever diet platform you want to choose is great. They kind of work in conjunction with each other and, are a mixture. Then you have something called the mind diet, which is a little bit of all the above, just mixing it all in together. Each one has various pros and cons. And again, whatever works best for you is what's going to work best. I know it kind of sounds dumb, but if you're not feeling good, if you're not having success on just being at your top of your game with like the mind diet principle, try the Mediterranean diet principle. Again, there's a lot of overlap in there, more than one way to skin that cat, as I like to say. So, of all that stuff that's in the big basic foods, what are some of the key nutrients that are healthy for us so that the brain can work well in addition to everything else in the body. So Gomez and Pinella put out in their study says brain foods, the effects of nutrients on brain function. Nature Reviews Neuroscience. So what Gomez says in that the key nutrients for your brain health are your B vitamins, like B12, vitamin D, vitamin E, choline, flavonoids, curcumin, some saturated fat, not a lot, but yes, fats are healthy for your brain, more of your omega-3 fatty acids, copper and zinc, and then calcium, iron, and selenium. So there's a lot of different ways and a lot of different foods that you can eat that have multiple functions within there. Fish. And that's why fish is a big one, because fish is omega-3. It's obviously also protein. It has some good fats for you. Your fruits and vegetables have various versions of the flavonoids in them. Maybe even some B vitamins. Also have, your dairy, your calcium, your iron, selenium. Your red meat does have some iron in it, which is important for you too. It's not necessarily in there. But that's why we want to have so many different types of foods, because they overlap and they help you out. For example, again, some of your B vitamins like avocados, pistachios, sunflower seeds, vitamin B12, meat, dairy, eggs. Those foods right there overlap into a lot of areas. And if you're eating them on a regular basis, again, vitamin D, fatty fish, your oils, tuna, your vitamin C, E, and your veggies. Choline, again, with eggs. Eggs fall into a lot of different categories. So you can kill multiple birds there with that one stone per se. So it's important to get all those different types of foods in on a regular basis into your diet. Now, of course, you may be saying, Matt, I'm allergic to one, or I just don't like the taste of another. Okay, cool, no problem. I get it. I don't necessarily like the taste of everything either, right? So that's the best thing about nature, is there's a lot of different choices to use. Don't focus on the only thing you can't eat when there's a whole shit ton of things that you can eat and mix with each other and use those herbs and spices to make it sweeter, to make it spicier, to make it more savory. All those types of things that you can do to help your brain, and it tastes pretty damn good. But if you need some supplements to consider, then, of course, with everything else, always ask your doctor before you start supplementing. Depends on what medications you have. Again, allergies, risk factors, things like that. Don't just, for example, go out and buy a bunch of vitamin A because you think, well, I'm low on A or iron. You may be taking some other prescriptions, or maybe you're smoking or something else, and that vitamin A is actually going to be a detriment, not help. I just use that for an example, okay? So just check with your doctor first. But some supplements that you could consider using are supplements with a vitamin B12 and a D combined. Ask your doctor. Check with a registered dietitian. See what's good for you for that. Maybe a multivitamin will help you in this. Another couple supplements are choline. Right? If you're not getting enough choline on a daily basis, maybe just don't like eggs, which are a great source of choline. Maybe there's a supplement that has some choline in there to help you out. Omega-3s, again, same thing. You're just not getting fish in your diet. That's not fried fish, at least. Or you just can't stand fish. Great. No problem. There are other ways to get omega-3s. Magnesium. Again, lots of types. Check with your doctor first. And then, of course, probiotics. That helps with your gut flora and making sure you're getting enough in there to help with your digestive tract. So things like kefir, Greek yogurt, fermented products like sauerkraut, pickles, miso, tempeh, kimchi. Those are some other foods that help with probiotics. Again, if you don't like the taste of that, then maybe there's some supplements out there that your doctor or your registered dietitian suggests that you can use and have in conjunction with getting foods from the Mediterranean and the DASH diet. So I hope all this stuff's helped you out to help your brain as you process this information in your brain that I just gave you. Because at the end of the day, right, you know, I've never heard anyone being still alive and no brain, right? Sure, it's pumping for you, but once your brain dies, like that's it. You're pretty much a goner. You can be on a machine, but when the brain's dead, so are you. So let's help keep that brain healthy and active and feed it the things that it needs so that you can enjoy life to the fullest, because that's what it's about, right? So remember, your brain needs to be fueled properly for your career and to reduce long-term risk factors for cognitive decline. So use some of these ideas I helped you to help with your meal planning. Watch your waistline also get trim while your brain gets big, right? That's what we want. We want a nice, slim waistline and a massively huge brain, right? That's almost coming out your ears. That's the goal. So for more information, hey, why don't you listen more to the Peel Appeal podcast? We got lots of information in a variety of different topics. So subscribe to it wherever you're listening to me now, and like it, share it, tell people about it, leave comments on it. Love to hear from you. If you want some more ways besides that to boost your cognitive function, hey, go to my website, mattpeel.com, and order my book. I have a whole section on neuroplasticity and how you can boost that with exercise in conjunction with what we just talked about here for your brain health on food. And there you go. There's your big brain, right? Small waistline, big brain. Remember that. Maybe that's a song we can write later on. You never know. And plus that, when you're on my website, mattpeel.com, why don't you sign up for my weekly emails and get some more weekly tips and some insights onto the things I like to do that I think are kind of fun. Maybe you'll enjoy them too. So this is Matt Peel with the Peel Appeal podcast. Until next time, have a good one.
Are you ready to get in the game? Get personal help. Sign up for our newsletter and pick up your copy of Athlete in the Game of Life, the book, all at mattpeel.com. Thanks for listening.